On this week's episode, we talk about the new Jeep Wrangler and Elantra GT. We also ask, why do cars seem so expensive? And if you've ever played with die-cast models like this, we're here to celebrate a special anniversary. Next on Talking Cars. Hi everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Mike Quincy.
I'm Ryan Pilzakowski.
And I'm John Linkove.
So, top of the news today, we've got some great new models here at the test track. The first one we want to talk about has its roots based in World War II. I mean, this vehicle's base is kind of older than, I don't know, an egg cream. But what you've got going here is the new Jeep Wrangler. Now, John, tell us, why does the Jeep Wrangler and Consumer Reports and its subscribers have such a funny relationship?
Well, the Wrangler is about off-road. It's about doors off, roof off, Jeep Jamboree out west, scaling rocks. But a small percentage of the owners are going to do that. I mean, East Coast owners aren't driving out there every year, every single one of them. And when we test vehicles, we don't test it for its exact use. We don't, buy a Corvette and say it's only about high performance and high speed. So we don't buy a Jeep Wrangler and say, well, we're going to put it up the rock hill and give it a score. So as a everyday vehicle, Wranglers just do not score well in our metrics. They're not fuel efficient, they're noisy, they have a rough ride, the tires make a lot of noise. It's just not an everyday vehicle compared with other vehicles in that similar class, a small SUV.
Yet they rank so high in owner satisfaction.
They're so much fun. What other vehicle can you take the doors off of, take the roof off of, and bomb around in? Whether you're going off-roading or not, that's fun. I'm sorry. And I'm pleased to see that they have not gone away from that raw, you can still take the doors off, you can still take the roof off. A few updates here and there. It looks a little different. The windshield's raked back a little more, which I'm not familiar or liking that much, but they lightened it up a little bit here and there.
But it's still pure.
It's still a
pure
Jeep. I mean, it doesn't ride that well, I don't think. It's still a Jeep. But you know what? I'm so happy that it's like that because it's a Jeep. I was afraid they're going to ruin that.
My neighbor has one.
Yep.
And my brother had an older one. And I'm not into the JK, whatever era. It had rectangular plastic dash that felt like a piece of Playmobil plastic.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right.
And as much as that car was awful to drive in the winter because I froze, over a 40-mile commute in the winter, I froze.
Yeah.
You forget all that when the spring comes and the doors come off and the roof comes off and you're just bombing around like you said. My kids saw this last night in the garage.
Yep.
And they never seen a Jeep or been in a Jeep except seeing my neighbors across the street. They're like, oh, the Jeep's here. Oh my God, he has a Jeep. They ran in attacking me, wanting to go for a ride then and being driven to school. Right. So it elicits that reaction from young to old.
Right.
My neighbor also has a Jeep. He has two of them. He has like an 80s era and a late 2000s era. And in the summer, when we go out and he takes the top down, he takes the doors off. Right. It's a special experience. It's different than a convertible, but it's not a pickup truck that's all just, hard riding and noisy and everything. Yeah. It's kind of has that function. And I got a chance to drive our new model. It seems pretty civilized. Mm-hmm. It's got ours is a real fancy. It's a Sahara. It's got
heated steering wheel,
heated seats, leather seats. The fit and finish is pretty cool. I love the really chunky shift lever. You drove it last night though. I mean.
Here's the two faces of it, if you will. Okay, I'm about 6 feet tall. Getting out, I rub my leg right along that running board. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't need it. My kids used it. I don't need a running board, but it sticks out so far. So pants legs every day. You're going to be awkward to get out.
Yeah. You're not going to step on it.
Right. You're not going to step on it.
You're already now all the way up when you step on it.
Exactly.
You might as well just step in the vehicle.
It's not like a running board on a pickup truck, which actually serves the purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
Noise from those panels. I mean, on the highway, wind coming in. It's loud. Now, I did a phone call with hands-free, and the person didn't remark about how noisy it was. So made good speaker systems. That you get to a stop sign. You're on a cell phone call. The engine has shut off. Engine shuts off, static through the phone call. Engine restarts,
no kidding,
static through that again. I have not been in a car that's done that. Okay?
It's like an old AM radio or something like that?
Well, that, or it's like an old AM radio. It's like an electric car that has an AM frequency where there's static.
Yeah.
This shouldn't happen in a $50,000 car, that there's a static burst in your cell phone call when the engine starts and shuts off, and starts up again. So,
and if it's going to appeal to that kind of a younger buyer, the younger buyer might be thinking more about their cell phone than the actual purpose of the vehicle. Yeah. Then that's just going to drive them crazy.
Maybe it's an early build issue, but it shouldn't be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, moving on to the other automotive type of news for our test track, we also got a Hyundai Elantra GT. Now, I mean, it's trying to sort of maybe be a pseudo Volkswagen GTI, really, which is our standard of this type of vehicle. So, how does it drive? Does it have any chance to be anything like a GTI?
It's not a GTI, but it's a breath of fresh air in the sense of it's fun to drive. It's got decent power, but it's simple. You can get in this car and drive away. You don't have to set anything up, do anything crazy. It's got cloth heated seats. It's just simple. It's easy. It's fun to drive. It's not a GTI.
No, but it's not a Hyundai accent.
Yeah,
it's not like just a
It's not even a basic Elantra. It has a little bit more verve to it, a little more spunk, if you will. Super simple controls, which are a breath of fresh air and type of thing. You just touch it. You just turn the knob. You set it. It has auto climate, which is super nice as well.
Climate,
It's a low 20s car. It's stylish. I haven't done it, but I'm sure you flip the seats. That hatchback's going to swallow anything.
Yep.
It was really nice to bomb around in.
I had it over the weekend.
Not the same as a Jeep.
Went to the transfer station, so it folded down the seats, loaded all our stuff in. We took it on a longer highway cruise of a couple hours. It really was. I could see living with this car. It's easy to get in and out of. It has enough entertainment to make it fun. It's not too noisy. The ride's a little rough, but not a deal breaker.
It's somewhat typical of that class, though. It's not like
it's appropriate.
You can't expect too much.
Right.
It's quite good.
I look forward to putting more miles on it and just seeing how it scores, because I think this is a lot better than people think it's going to be. Kind of one of those sleeper cars.
It is. It's an economy compact car, but that has a little more to it that makes you want to give it a second chance. Yeah. Right. If it's not a GTI, it's like a nice Golf.
Right.
In that respect.
And less money than a GTI.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that's probably a big selling point.
And a good warranty, probably.
Very much.
Right.
Good point.
And in another bit of really cool type of automotive news, although in this case we're not really so much concerned about fuel economy and cost. It is been announced that 2018 is the 50th anniversary of Hot Wheels. The most amazing die-cast cars that has ever been created.
New Hot Wheels. There's more.
Honestly, these were a huge part of my childhood. Couldn't wait to get them, whether it was a birthday present, a Christmas present, the orange track, the superchargers, the collector boxes. I mean, I got all kinds of stuff going on here. Love this carrying case that my brother and I had to carry around our Hot Wheels.
Right there,
and honestly, the fact that they've lasted this long, they make all kinds of cars that are appealing and still fun. And since we're car people, and I imagine a lot of people watching this podcast or listening to this podcast are car people too. And we all grew up with some car-related toys, right?
Sure. Of course.
I mean, whether it's matchboxes, slot car tracks. I mean, tell us some about your car-related toys.
I like the Matchbox and Hot Wheels. Those were fun, particularly on the dirt. Making ramps and tracks and stuff like that. My dad liked car racing, so Tyco, electric slot cars. They were the thing, and the tracks you would build in these, very involved race tracks. And I'd never seen one. I didn't see what Laguna Seca looked like or Spa, but I built these things, over with ramps and over pillows and stuff. And I remember getting the one that went up the wall.
Race toward the wall and up. And over.
How cool was that?
That was a Hanukkah gift, and it didn't work. The first thing, clunk, they fall. Do it again, clunk, they fall. Clunk, they fall. We went back that night and returned it, and I got a more basic one. But those were awesome.
Yeah.
And edging it just enough so it didn't spin out, around the bend.
You couldn't go too fast with a slot car.
That was fun. When they finally put the double pin ones in, you could do that, or you can modify it. Oh, then I could
See, my
kick
buddy,
my brother's butt.
My buddy had a Tyco set. And it was lousy. It was really, really crappy. And so in the Sears catalog, they had an AFX set. And honestly, I saved all my money from my paper route to buy this AFX track.
AFX. Cars that take a little.
It was the greatest thing. And as soon as it arrived, I said to my mom, I think I'm too sick to go to school. And somehow she bought it.
That?
She bought, but she kind of looked at me with a little wink. But she was always like that. My father was not as pleased, but I somehow pulled it off. What about you, Ryan?
I had Matchbox cars. I had Hot Wheels. I was big into the slot cars. I really like that. I like the next level of, these things go on their own now.
Yeah.
And then that grew into remote control cars and everything else. But I even had the little micro machine, or the tiny little one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little bit younger than you guys, but
All my Transformers are
these
the
things
cars.
they're timeless. They're timeless.
They-
I mean,
they
kids,
really
I hope
Yeah.
to God these kids are still playing with these things. I mean, this is
They are. What's funny is Christmas weekend went to a friend's house and he got his son this super involved car wash double-decker stack thing, and the father was not a car guy, and I'm putting it together. I was like, this is really fun.
awesome.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
the
would-
thing
I
had to
would
be
love
like
this.
this high, you know,
Right.
with ramps and stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, they're alive and doing well.
And the crazy thing is when I got these, they were just toys. I went on eBay, and some of these are selling for thousands and thousands. It's absolutely
They're
nuts.
collector's items.
So the producer says we have to put away our toys right now and kind of move on to
come
other
on.
more important, pressing matters.
We'll play with them later.
Thanks, Dave.
Well, for example, we're gonna get to your questions. We love getting your questions, seeing comments on YouTube and whatnot, and so we're gonna get right into it. And this first one is a really, really good, really basic. Simply, why do cars cost so much?
Well,
They're ripping us off.
Yeah. We talked about BMW, Nick, and Don, but
it's-
even not even BMW.
I mean, the average car is $35,000.
It's crazy.
Okay. But if you look at cost of inflation, cars really aren't expensive in relation to 10, 20 years ago. They're expensive in relation to the fact that salaries may not have kept up with inflation.
Right.
But you're getting a lot of equipment for the money for most cars. I'm not going to justify a Pagani. I'm not going to justify a Z06. I'm not going to justify that. But I look back and think that I bought a 1996 Audi A4 after I had my first job. I was living at home, of course, so I had no rent. It was about 28 grand out the door. A4 Quattro,
that's a lot of money back
V6,
then. Yeah.
manual. Yeah, a lot of cloth seats to save money. If you look at a comparably equipped Audi A4 today, with inflation, it's about the same.
Right.
It's more in relation to the fact that so many other things have also gotten expensive, and salaries really haven't particularly kept up.
Right. That's kind of the economic viewpoint of it. And as we get used to cars having all this content in it. Well, all that content costs money, right?
Yeah.
When's the last time you drove a new car with roll-up windows?
I couldn't tell you.
Exactly. But so when you get used to all that stuff, I want the sunroof, I want automatic climate
This
control.
stuff's just becoming standard. It's just
Right.
part of the vehicle now.
Right.
Yeah.
And you think of safety equipment and such as well, emission equipment. There's a lot of cost that goes into cars now. I mean, you think back to people, why can't they build a CRX HF? That thing got 40-something miles per gallon. That thing would crush in an accident with the smallest car in this garage.
Exactly.
Okay? That thing is a death trap.
Yeah.
It had nothing in it. That's why it got 40 miles per gallon back
the
then.
the Geo from the 1980s with 3 cylinders. It's like, that would got great fuel economy, but it had nothing on it. I mean, my first new car was a 1987 Honda Civic Si, and I ordered it without air conditioning because you could do that back then to save money.
Yeah,
I put my own radio in. It was $10,043.75. I'll never forget that number.
Wow.
But so
interesting.
you and your friends are facing getting new cars and paying for them, and how are they pulling it together?
I don't know. Honestly, I've never owned a brand new car. My first car that I bought was used, and I couldn't justify buying a new car. I mean, even still, I guess I could now, but we have these vehicles to drive, so I'm lucky in that sense. But my friends, a lot of my friends buy used cars,
Right.
and the used cars make sense to me. Because you can get a little more equipped car for less money.
Right.
So you can actually get the bottom of the line, trim, bottom of the base, trim, and go up a couple trims. It's used, but
Right.
you know what? Cars last a long time nowadays.
And
You
the
take care of them.
used car market's boosted again, built up again. For a while after the Cars for Clunkers or Cash for Clunkers deal, and the new car sales plummeted, there wasn't a real robust supply. I remember in 11 we bought an MDX for my wife.
Right.
We were looking used. We had to buy a new one because A, it had 0.9% financing, and B, the used cars had miles and they were the exact same price as a new one almost.
Well, yeah.
That was so now used cars they make a huge difference in what you can get for your money, and we have a huge robust rollout on consumerreports.org
Right.
listing all of that.
And in terms of used cars, that rolls us right into the next question, actually very succinctly. The question is, I'm considering a used Prius. Is there a particular year or years that are better bang for your buck and or more reliable? And how long do the batteries generally last, and for about how long? I mean, you're really the used car editor of our automotive buying guides. Lay that out for us.
That's a lot of pressure. Well, first off, look for a 2010 later Prius, because that's when it had standard electronic stability control. So many cars now have it standard. You don't think of it, but back in 2010 and even earlier, this was it was an option. It wasn't even on a number of vehicles.
No, we kind of forget about that.
Right.
We forget about that. So a 2010 or later Prius, we did take, we bought, every Prius when they were brand new, ran them through our test. We actually brought back an older Prius that someone had put 200,000 or a little over 200,000 miles on it, ran it through our fuel economy test as well. It wasn't our car that we bought back. We brought an owner's car. It got within a mile or so per gallon of our test results.
That blew
in the
my
same
mind.
exact test.
That really blew my mind. That was awesome.
Yeah. So the battery, the batteries last.
Wasn't the company, whether it's Toyota or Honda or whatever, the company stock line about how long the batteries last? They're designed to last the life of the car. I remember that was kind of what they're saying.
True. It's like, lifetime warranty until it dies and the lifetime's done.
Right.
And but they have been. That was a big fear people had of, when's the battery going to die?
Understandably, too.
But the Prius has this long history of great reliability. It's a complicated car, certainly at the time.
Yeah.
So, if you're looking to buy a used Prius, specifically getting one with the ESC of 2010
and later,
is a really good way to go. But it's just a good used car, period.
It is. It's a good used car.
Definitely
Not a specific year. At that point, look for price, miles, equipment.
Right.
Because you're going to do well no matter what.
Cool.
Which brings us to, in terms of reliability, a discussion about which minivan to get. Our next question is, my wife and I are trying to decide between a 2018 Sienna and a 2018 Odyssey. However, the Odyssey definitely has more premium feel since it's a redesign. But we question the Odyssey's reliability because it's new. With the Sienna, it seems like we would have had to upgrade to an XLE to get the blind spot monitoring and rear cross-traffic alert. Sorry, this is a long question. In which case, it would be $4,500 more than the Odyssey EX. The Odyssey seems to score better in the IHS test than the Sienna. Any advice from CR? Odyssey versus Sienna. Where do you go?
Odyssey. Slightly personal is the Sienna. I don't fit well in the Sienna. It's got the driving position's a little awkward for me, and I don't care for the way it handles. The Odyssey, it feels more secure. The new Odyssey is very solid feeling. It's got a luxury feel to it almost. The reliability, I think we projected the reliability for the Honda about average, and the Sienna's going to be above average somewhere, right? I like it that much more. I would gamble on it.
Drivability, it's nicer.
It's just a nicer to drive car.
Odyssey, Sienna.
So I would also go with the Odyssey. I like the feel. I like the spacing of the controls. You can get a Odyssey without the, I believe it's the 9-speed automatic. You can get it with the 6-speed automatic transmission, one of the lower level ones.
Right.
So you're avoiding some of the reliability headaches. I like the driving style, the handling. Sienna doesn't fit me as well. It's a little more of an upright seat.
Yeah.
The infotainment spread across the dash. I believe brand new Siennas have the standard Toyota Safety System Plus, so you're getting forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking.
Everything but the blind spot and rear cross traffic, which does cost extra.
Which does cost a little, extra depending on the package. But with Odyssey, it's not on the base version, but it is on the others, the Honda Sensing. So at that point, really, a lot of it in the Northeast, from people who ask me, it comes down to the all-wheel drive factor.
Right.
I want all-wheel drive, and the Odyssey and the Sienna has it, and nothing else does, so I bought that. Well, they have run flat. Ryan could talk about the run flat tires and how fast they wear, and everyone I know they come in like, they're worn out in 15,000 miles. I say go buy a set of Michelins and then keep a can of Fix-A-Flat and AAA.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're worried about having all-wheel drive on the Sienna or the Odyssey, just buy some snow tires and off you go.
Right.
Yeah, you'll go further than all seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm a freak of nature, but I would go with the Toyota Sienna. It's a family car. I value reliability probably above anything. I would get a front-wheel drive model and just say, forget all-wheel drive, don't need it. Get winter tires and be done with it. Or in most cases here in the Northeast,
if you do,
there's a hint of snow and they close down everything anyway. So by the time you go out on the roads, they're already cleared up.
If you do the Sienna, I would say front-wheel drive, like you said.
Right. Well, That's about all the time we have for this edition of Talking Cars. If you want to learn more about the cars that we talked about in the show, check out the show notes below. And send us your video question at consumerreports.org/talkingcars. Thanks so much for tuning in.